Hi, this is Sean from Time and Talk. Today I've got the Seagull 1963. I'm quite excited about this one because I've been wanting to get one in for a while. The box is really cool, like something you would imagine existed in 1963. So this watch is really nice looking piece, vintage inspired, and it was first released in 1963, obviously, and it was based upon a quest by the Chinese government to the Tianjin watch factory to produce a watch for the Chinese Air Force, apparently called Project 304. Basically, they had bought out a watch company or a movement company called Venus, and they used that movement to then produce their own movements. So you can see that a great looking watch, vintage inspired. It's got quick release things on the strap. It's got a leather strap, a lovely vintage style dial, and the movement's fantastic. Exhibition case back. This is the sapphire crystal version, as far as I'm aware. I bought this from somebody, so I'm not 100% sure it's a sapphire. It feels like sapphire though, and I think the sapphire one is 21 jewels. It says 21 Zwan, I imagine it's pronounced, on the dial, and the others say 19, the acrylic ones, I think. So it's got a minute counter and a standard seconds counter on the left. And the movement's called the ST19. It's a hand wound column wheel chrono movement, which is quite interesting because this is really affordable watch. It's about $300 retail price, and it's got a column wheel chronograph movement. Basically, a column wheel chronograph movement. I'm not an expert on these things, but it's thought of as more high end. You can see me operating it here. I think what's interesting is the chrono works really well. It's a really nice winding mechanism. But when you do stop the chrono and you push the reset button, it feels a little bit slack to me. But apparently one of the bonuses of having a column wheel chrono, they're apparently more labour intensive to produce, is they've got a smoother action and they've got a smoother second hand. Perhaps it's that, because my Speedy, which was 4,000 quid or thereabouts, that isn't a column wheel and this is, which is quite interesting. It's a really nice looking watch, as you can see. I'll bring up the specs now. So, as I said, ST19 hand winding chronograph movement. It's 38 millimeters, which I forgot to put that on the screen. The lug to lug is 47. The thickness is 14. It's got 18 millimeter lugs. Some people don't like the thickness and think it's a little bit thick because it's quite a small watch as well. You can get a 41 millimeter version. I don't think it's too thick. I think it's a nice size and a nice thickness. You can also get acrylic versions and sapphire versions. In terms of this watch as well, it's called the Seagull because that was the name that started to be used in 1974 when they actually started to import or export these watches from China. So that's why it's called Seagull. I think apparently the original name was Dongfeng or something like that. Obviously a Chinese name. So as I've said, this watch is available in a few different styles on the Seagull website. It's a relatively faithful reissue of the watch that was issued in 1963 for the first time. You can buy a couple of sizes, 38 or 41 I think it is. It might be 42, but a more kind of Speedmaster-esque size if you like. There's a 19 jewel and a 21 jewel version. Slight difference in price. You can get a sapphire acrylic version and you can get various strap combinations as well. I've seen them on NATO's. This one's on a leather strap. But I just think if you look at the movement, it's really good to have a hand winding chronograph movement at this price in a watch which has some amazing history. You know, it's not an homage watch. I think there's been a little bit of controversy over whether this watch is still a Seagull watch, because I'm guessing, I've not read that much into it, but I'm guessing there's been some sort of buyout of this company, and are they the company that they used to be? But you know, you could say that about Tag Heuer, you could say that about pretty much any Swiss watch brand apart from Rolex and the really high end stuff. In terms of my thoughts of this watch, I've not owned it for that long, but I think you're getting so much quality and so much history really for your money. You can see some slight imperfections on the hands and things like that, but this is an affordable watch, so you wouldn't expect it to be 100% perfect. You're getting a hand wind column wheel chronograph movement for, you know, $300 or less than that in most cases. You can get them off eBay for way cheaper. You're getting a historical piece. You know, this is a watch that was produced for the first time on the orders, I imagine, of Chairman Mao. So, see on my wrist here, I wanted the 38mm version. Just so happened that I bought this from somebody. Just so happened that they too had bought the 38. The 41, I've already got a 42, well, it's not 42, but a 40mm Speedmaster, so I didn't need another Speedmastery chrono. It's got a nice vintage size. Some people don't like the thickness, but I think it's fine. I think it suits the watch as it is. It feels like a modern watch in a way, but kind of also wears vintage, like, you know, because of its thickness. In terms of the cons of this watch, for the price you really can't quibble. The difference in quality between the movement on this and the Speedmaster that I also own, the buttons feel more slack. I have not got tons of experience on chronograph movements, so potentially hit me in the comments and tell me you might think that that's a pro of a chronograph movement that's really easy to push, particularly the reset button. It doesn't feel as reassuring though in terms of its quality. Obviously you can see some minor imperfections on the dial and on the hands and things like that, but I don't think I've ever seen a watch that didn't have those things, that was an affordable piece. That's all in terms of the cons really, because you can't really complain at this price, and I do think it's a really nice looking watch. It wears really well. Chronograph movement, hand wind, column wheel, it's, you know, that's awesome for the price. You're getting a lot of watches with the Seagull movement in it, but I don't think they are as exciting and as interesting as this particular watch, given the fact that it's, you know, it's a historical watch and it was produced for the first time for the Chinese government and things like that. It adds an element of history to it. Aside from that though, even if there wasn't that, it's just a nice looking watch. It's a nice vintage inspired watch. I've got a watch from the 60s myself, a vintage Omega, and you can tell that it kind of takes the same era as its inspiration, and it looks like a vintage watch in a way, is what I'm trying to say. So if you like this video, please subscribe to my channel. Thanks very much for watching. Bye bye.